The moon hung low in the ink-black sky as I pulled into the Walmart parking lot. The quiet of the night was unsettling, punctuated only by the distant hum of a passing car. The glow of the store's neon sign cast an eerie light on the deserted parking lot, and a sense of unease settled over me as I stepped out of my car. I had been in a rush all day and couldn't find the time to do my shopping. With the allure of 24-hour convenience, I had decided to venture into the Walmart at an ungodly hour. As I pushed open the sliding doors, a wave of cool air rushed over me, sending a shiver down my spine. The store was eerily quiet, the only sound being the soft hum of fluorescent lights overhead. The rows of empty shopping carts stood like sentinels, waiting in eerie silence. I hesitated for a moment, debating whether to turn back, but the thought of having the entire store to myself was oddly appealing. I pulled out my phone, its pale glow illuminating the dimly lit aisles. The narrow pathways seemed to stretch endlessly, lined with shelves that held an odd assortment of products. The distant echo of my footsteps reverberated through the store, creating an unsettling symphony of sound. As I roamed the aisles, grabbing items off the shelves, a strange sensation settled over me. It was as if the items themselves were watching me, their labels and logos taking on a sinister quality in the dim light. I shook off the feeling, chalking it up to the late hour and my own imagination. After what felt like an eternity, I finally made my way to the checkout area, my cart filled to the brim with groceries. I approached the self-checkout machines, my heart sinking as I realized they were all powered down. Confused, I glanced around, only to see that the entire store had taken on a surreal quality. The shelves seemed to stretch impossibly high, and the fluorescent lights cast long, distorted shadows on the floor. I reached for my phone to check the time, only to find that it had died, its screen blank. Panic started to creep in as I realized that something wasn't right. I began walking toward the entrance, my footsteps echoing loudly through the empty store. The air grew colder, and a sensation of being watched intensified. My heart raced, and I quickened my pace. As I approached the sliding doors, I hesitated. Beyond the glass, the parking lot was cloaked in darkness, and a thick fog seemed to have rolled in. I pushed on the doors, but they didn't budge. Frantic now, I tried again and again, but they remained resolutely closed. A voice echoed through the store, chilling me to the bone. "We're closed." I turned around, my eyes widening in horror. Standing by the customer service desk was a figure, dressed in the uniform of a Walmart employee. But there was something off about them, something inhuman. Their eyes gleamed with an unnatural intensity, and a twisted smile played across their lips. My breath caught in my throat as I stumbled backward, my cart crashing to the ground. The figure began to advance, their steps slow and deliberate. "You should have left when you had the chance," they hissed. With a surge of adrenaline, I turned and sprinted back into the store, my footsteps echoing like a drumbeat. The aisles seemed to twist and warp around me, and I ran blindly, my heart pounding in my chest. The sensation of being pursued never left me, and I dared not look back. Finally, I burst through the doors at the opposite end of the store, gasping for breath. The parking lot was bathed in an eerie blue light, the moon obscured by the fog. I stumbled to my car and fumbled for my keys, the sound of footsteps behind me growing louder. As I peeled out of the parking lot, the figure emerged from the store, their twisted smile never leaving their face. I drove through the fog, heart still racing, until the glow of the neon sign was nothing but a distant memory. It wasn't until I reached the safety of my home that I realized how close I had come to something unspeakable. The Walmart that had promised 24-hour convenience had turned into a nightmare realm after dark. And as I stared out into the night, I couldn't shake the feeling that the store's sinister secrets were far from over. The night shift at Walmart was always a strange experience. The usual hustle and bustle of the daytime hours gave way to an eerie calm, broken only by the occasional beep of a scanner or the hum of the overhead lights. I had grown accustomed to the solitude, finding comfort in the routine tasks that needed to be completed. But one fateful night, the routine was shattered. and I found myself facing a chilling encounter that would forever change my perception of the store. I was stacking shelves in the grocery section when movement caught my eye. Glancing up, I saw a figure entering the store through the sliding doors. I blinked, surprised by the late-night customer. Dressed in a long coat and a wide-brimmed hat that obscured most of their face, the person seemed out of place in the empty store. I watched as the figure walked with purpose, their steps echoing through the vast space. It was as if they knew exactly where they were headed. I decided to keep an eye on them, curiosity getting the better of me. As they moved through the aisles, their demeanor seemed almost predatory, and a sense of unease settled over me. I went about my tasks, stealing glances in their direction whenever I could. The person's cart was gradually filling with an odd assortment of items: duct tape, rope, plastic sheets, and other supplies that sent a chill down my spine. My heart raced as I considered the implications of their choices. I felt a sense of duty to intervene, to ensure the safety of the store and its patrons. But as I approached, a voice in my head urged caution. What if I had misjudged the situation? What if I had misunderstood their intentions? I decided to observe from a distance, rationalizing that I didn't have concrete evidence of any wrongdoing. But as the figure made their way to the checkout area, my apprehension grew. Their cart, now full to the brim, was a disturbing collection of items that seemed to serve a sinister purpose. I watched as they interacted with the cashier, their voice hushed and urgent. The cashier's expression shifted from curiosity to concern, and my heart sank. The person's words were too low to hear, but the cashier's visible discomfort told a story of its own. After paying, the figure pushed their cart toward the exit. The sliding doors opened to reveal the empty parking lot, shrouded in darkness. I felt a mix of relief and apprehension as they left, the weight of the encounter settling heavily on my shoulders. The next morning, as the sun rose and the store began to fill with shoppers, I couldn't shake the feeling that something had been off about that night. I considered reporting the incident to my manager, but the lack of concrete evidence left me hesitating. Perhaps it had all been a misunderstanding, a collection of coincidences that had fueled my imagination. But the memory of that night continued to haunt me, a reminder that even in the familiar aisles of Walmart, darkness could hide just beneath the surface. And as I scanned the faces of the customers, I couldn't help but wonder what had driven that figure to collect such disturbing items in the dead of night.